This is what my walk cycles looked like 4 months ago.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? How did this get?
Believe it or not, that was me. But here's what I can do now. Yeah, I could say I improved throughout the months, compared to this. But you probably clicked this video because you want to learn how to animate walk cycles, right? Well, look no further because
I am here!
Alright, let's start with the basics. What is a walk cycle? A walk cycle is basically a cheat code for animators. Instead of animating your character step by painful step, we make one repeating loop that makes it look like they can walk forever. It's like a GIF we could just add a moving background to and voila. How do I animate walk cycles? First off, we open up our animation software, which in my case is FlipperClip. Then we grab our stylus pen, or in my case, my fingers. Alright, let's start animating. So the first I'm going to teach you is how to animate a walk cycle with just the legs. Then we move on to animating it with the entire body later. Before you proceed, you should know that there are different ways of animating these walk cycles. You could make it look like the person is angry, happy, sad, or even tired. But I'll be teaching a general way of animating a walk cycle. This way you could understand how animating them actually works and make it easier for you to add emotions to your animations later on. Okay, first step. One thing you should know about animating a walk cycle is that there are two key poses when animating them. The contact pose and the passing pose. Now this might seem off for you or rather different if you've watched other tutorials that said there were 4 key poses. But in reality, there are actually just 2. The contact pose and the passing pose. The remaining 2 you see in those videos are just copies of the first 2 poses but now with a different leg position. And if the 4 poses in those videos you see look like this, these are just in-betweens, not the actual key poses. Alright, let me give you an example. So I draw the contact pose first. Then I draw the passing pose. Then I copy the contact pose and pasted it on the new frame. We raised it a little and changed the position of the leg. I also did the same thing for the passing pose. Now we play it, and as you can see, the framework for the animation is already set, or rather the framework for the walk cycle was already set. All we need to do right now is add in betweens to make the animation smoother. So I go to frame 0, tap the plus sign at the top and select between all frames. And we have a blank frame in front of every frame. You also need to turn on onion scaling for past and future frames for a smooth in-between in the animation. Now, let's get to work. Naturally, after drawing the contact pose, you draw an in-between following it with the knees bending because the character's weight just dropped onto the front leg. The leg behind also continues to lift. And then the next in between, the one after the passing pose, is the front leg going back while the behind legs going front. And then I copy these 2 in betweens and paste them on the remaining black frames, while changing the position of the legs by correction. Alright, let's play. The animation looks a little bit too fast, so I'm adding some more in betweens. I'll leave you with a short time-lapse video. Here's a little tip before we move on to the next step. If you find yourself in a situation where the animation looks too smooth, I'd recommend cutting the in-betweens down and only leaving the in-betweens for the contact poses. This gives it that kind of ease in, ease out effect. Alright, now that we're done with the basic, let's
Move on to the next target.
Let's move on to the full body animation walk cycle. Before, I thought there were only 2 key poses, the contact pose and the passing pose. But for this, I'd say we use the 4 key poses just to make things easier for you and so you'd be able to animate these up and down movements better. First thing we do is draw a contact pose. Then we draw 2 horizontal lines boxing them to serve as guidelines for the up and down motion in this walk cycle animation. Also notice how this line is precisely at the same level as the top of the head of this character. Then we draw the next pose, which is the down pose. This is when gravity says,
I've got you now!
Your character's weight drops onto the front leg. The knees bend a bit and the body dips. This is your squash and stretch. And as you can see, the head of the character also goes below the guideline. They're not at the same level anymore. Then we move on to the passing pose. This is when the back foot passes the front foot, basically the character in mid-step. The weight is balanced on one leg, while the other leg swings through. The head also moves above the upper horizontal line. Then we
move on to the next target.
The up pose. This is when your character is at their highest point. They've pushed off their back foot, they are on their toes, and their head is slightly more above the upper horizontal line. After this, the cycle repeats. You just have to change the position of the legs. How about I also add some arm movements? Tips: arm swings opposite to the leg, right leg forward, left arm forward, and vice versa. If your character swings the same arm and leg forward, congrats, you just animated a drunk robot. Now if you're up for it, I'd like to also teach how you could animate to walk cycle from the front view. Just like how we started with all the other animations, we draw the contact pose first, but from a front view. As you can see, they're just the same poses but from different angles. Then I draw the down pose. I copied the first contact pose and paste it on a new frame, but this time I flip it. Then I do the same for the passing pose. Alright, let's play. Alright, this looks really decent. All that's left now is adding in-betweens. Let's do a jolly good job on that. Alright, before you go, here's another tip for you when animating. Your walk cycle doesn't have to be boring. If your character is shy, make her take small steps. If they're a villain, slow down the walk. Add more weight to the steps and maybe give them a smug little sway. Personality in an animation or walk cycle is like seasoning in food. Nobody likes bland animation. And that's probably it. The 4 key poses, timing, the arms, a dash of personality. Master this and your animation will look better than they've ever been in no time. If this helped, drop a like, subscribe, and join our Discord server if you want to be part of the community. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.